Hello! Welcome back to a point of inspiration, for which now I am happily 1/4 of. Don't you love when you come in and throw off the mass of a third? It's wonderful, isn't it? This is an alpha test of Knights of the Lamb, our little plushy teddy bear game. And this is the first one using the all-new rule set that we have been developing with the amazingly fun and awesome role players we have here. Just as a little PSA, this may or may not be a little bit mature, or may not be completely freaking bonkers. With that said, let's introduce what our players and their characters. Starting from my left to my right, almost in the order of arrival, actually. Ben.
Good evening. Hello, I'm Ben, the infamous, not so infamous, barely recognized, barely apparent, but always playing, with no channel, nothing to promote, play more games. I'm awesome. And tonight, Matthew, I will be playing Pythagoras, the plushy penguin with the heart of gold and the magic to back it up. You know what I'm saying.
Chepe.
I think he's left us.
Joseph.
No, I'm here. I'm here. Hi, my name is Chepe, colloquially on the internet. Used to have a channel, no longer. And I'm playing Henry, who may be a teenage mutant ninja something. He looks like a cross between a turtle and an anteater, and he just wants to know what he is. He's a very shy ninja.
And last but certainly not least, Chelsea.
What's going on? I'm Night Hag, Chelsea Dabs, 1/4 of a point of inspiration. It's going to get really hard to remember to say it that way, because I'm so used to saying 1/3. But now I am 1/4 of a point of inspiration, and I will be playing a novelty plushie known as John Cena. Da, 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 da. Who has a Buzz Lightyear complex. So I'm excited. Let's do this.
All right, jumping into the game. We are, each one of you is awakening again, rising from the bottom of the well of souls, rising from the darkness of your previous servitude into the service of another child, given life again and being called into action by the love and the need of another child. You awaken into the pristine well of souls in the ageless spire. Pythie, how does it look? What memories flash before your eyes as you awaken into service?
The tower looks as it always did. The well left behind, not quite dry but not quite wet. The place always smells old but new. The stone looks worn but always clean. The steps that lead down instead of up, going from the top of the spire down to the bottom of the spire. Laughter and giggling echoing throughout each and every hall. A wooden roof rests above you. It's always been there. Always been there. The stuffing feels a little stiff at first, the stitching a little tight, but as each movement happens and each breath taken, you start to remember more and more, and you're just waiting for that voice, that recognizable old voice that's been there, always been there, and never been there, waiting to call out waiting to send you further on into service, and waiting to hear that child's voice.
Henry.
Yes. Voice. Yes. He hears the voice, Henry. First time he is being brought to life. All he remembers is just a coldness, a stillness, and slowly motion. Articulation felt in his claws, long cylindrical nails, no flexible digits. Yet for some reason they move with accuracy. It perplexes him. His beady eyes start blinking. The spire that he starts walking up, he realizes he feels this thing for the first time. This call, this name in the back of his mind of a child, Raphael. This warmth? I think it's warmth, he says to himself, and he feels it in his scales. He has scales. Oh, scales. And he looks down at his tail and it flops very hastily up the steps. He leaps and bounds himself over, rolls himself into a ball that skimmies itself up steps instead of down. He flips and pirouettes his way up. Warmth. I like warmth. And he slowly has this number to him, the clinking of his claws as a priest carrying sacred scriptures slowly carries with him this newfound feeling of love, birth, life, warmth within him. As if nestling it between his two claws, he slowly contemplates it as he makes his way up the steps of the spire and out of the Well of Souls.
John Cena.
He sees images of a little girl with lopsided pigtails just leaping with no fear off of the edge of a couch and into a pile of pillows on the floor. She's shouting different words and he can't quite pick them up. And she has this just joyful squeal in that moment of weightlessness falling through the air. And then the soft impact against the pillows. His eyes open and he looks around the room he's in, kind of confused for a moment. He's waiting for his adoring fans to come rushing up and surround him, and there's nobody here but stuffed animals? He turns his head to the side and takes a couple steps forward, each one squeak, squeak, squeak. He looks down at his feet. That doesn't quite look right. His head kind of just slowly turns to the side. Everything feels soft. He attempts not to freak out.
And so here you are, the three of you, in the top room of the spire. All looks well, all looks in order. Except there's a sense of quiet. It's far too quiet. You get the feeling overtaking you that there should be more knights, that your fraternity of knights, your family, your fellowship should be much, larger. There should be more than just 3 knights in this hall awakening. There should have been someone to greet you, to say hello, welcome back. But it's just quiet.
John Cena moves to the door. He looks behind him. He pauses for a moment and then smiles and says, Get behind my muscles.
All right. Could you roll me? Make me a roll applying your knack. John Cena.
Sorry, I was rolling. 16 total.
16 total.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you say get behind your muscles.
Yeah.
When do you actually start opening the door or no?
Oh, no. I'm just kind of like, I'm at the door. I've kind of got this like macho man Randy Savage pose going, oh yeah, kind of like squeezing his biceps. And he's kind of looking back behind him going, get behind my muscles.
All right. So when John Cena walks to the door and does all the flexing and this bravado, you can see John Cena kind of like stumble and slip a little as some of the large, the heavy, pristine stones, you're noticing them shift and move under John Cena's weight as if some of the mortar holding it together has rotted away.
Somebody didn't prep the stage right.
Stones shifting, stones moving. Always, they're moving. And then Pythe starts muttering little things under his breath as he's looking at the stones, and then looks further down. How would the stones move? How would the stones move? Stones should move. Stones supposed to stay still. Stones stay still because the monster's not there. If the monster's not there, then he kind of walks over away from the stones he's looking at and looks further down. Then the hand kind of reaches out. Don't move. Whatever you do, don't move. Just yet.
So, Pythe, would you give me a roll applying your brains?
Yes, I will.
A 10. You're analyzing, you're looking at everything. But there's just something, a ticking going on, and apparently it's Henry's little claws as he's trying to nervously stay still, but his claws are tapping together.
Can I move now?
You already are. But sure. I don't.
That was quite exhilarating. He says that and just starts tapping more. Are we going in, or?
It looks like we might be going in, but I don't like the look of this floor.
What's wrong with the floor?
It looks like it's moving.
Hmm?
Cena's just kind of standing there, like in like mid-stride pose, frozen. So what do I do now?
Well, I would imagine you have two options. You can open the door and hold on and see what happens.
Alright.
Or
And
you
he just
can-
reaches forward and like pulls the door open with a jerk. And like he's like so tiny that he kind of just hangs onto the door and swings with it as it opens.
Make me a roll applying your knack if you'd like.
5, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6.
6 total?
Yeah.
Okay. So you sweep, you yank open the door and you go swinging. Your little mini plush feet coming ever so close to your allies as this exceptionally large door swings open.
Or we could go down the stairs.
I drop to the floor and kind of shimmy forward a bit, and I peek out the door either way.
All right, as you peek out the door, it's magical. This view seems to stretch out into an infinite sky. You are just above the clouds. There is the image of several suns just illuminating this area, bathing it in light. The pristine balcony is of an exquisite construction, very ornate. And it's a very large balcony, able to accommodate dozens upon dozens of knights. And that balcony has a staircase leading downward to the left of you. Again, very large. The steps seeming to be too large for you to walk down in the center, suited for more of a giant than a knight. But to either side of that are smaller steps, more suited to yourselves.
They did a really good job on this movie set.
What was that?
What? Are you an entourage or something? You keep following me.
I'm supposed to be going somewhere. Do you know?
Do I look like your manager? In fact, where's my manager?
He brushes his head down, just kind of scratches the side of his face, looks at you with his beady marble eye. I don't think we have managers.
He kind of continues walking forward towards the staircase. He's just like, what kind of movie set doesn't have managers? Another crap production.
I look at the penguin. You're muted.
Just like the hands extended after you. Pythagoras. Pythe. By the way.
Hi, Pythe.
Down, 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 down is the way to go. But not too quick. Don't go down too quick.
So, do one of you start heading down the stairs?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, following.
I'm following behind.
All right. Who was the first? Who took the lead in this
That was me.
downward endeavor? All right. So, John Cena, the plushie.
Yes.
Could you roll me again? Applying your knack, and this is going to be a group roll. With the two of you, please roll me a single d10. The highest two rolls of all 4 d10s will be applied.
I got a 7 and a 6.
9.
And Ben? Four? Okay, so a 7 and a 9 are the highest. 17.
Yeah.
So everyone starts going down the steps, and John doesn't necessarily notice it. John quite literally stumbles upon this. As you're walking down these steps, one of your feet get caught up on some loose thread that you didn't notice. And as you're walking down, you pull, and it's almost like a tripwire for Henry, who stumbles over it and helps you to notice that you're tied by this thread, which, again, is such a pristine place that looks so well kept. It's hard to imagine how this thread could have just been carelessly left on the steps for someone to trip on.
Was it like tied off?
It's just loose. You know, as you were walking down, you kind of like got it caught up in your foot.
Oh, what is it? Is it a spider web? Is it a spider web? I mean.
I do hope it's okay.
Yeah, just a loose thread.
Oh, okay.
Where did this even come from?
Start scratching. Well, I believe if you follow a thread, you could find where it's from.
Is this a long thread or a short thread, Mr. Storyteller?
How are you going about finding it out? How long or short this is?
Well, I imagine I looked to see if it was kind of tied off, so I guess I was kind of trying to follow it a little bit.
All right. Make me a roll applying your knack.
Okay. 19.
19 total?
Mm-hmm.
All right, beautiful. You're you're following the thread down the steps, and you know it's strewn and spaghettied throughout the place. It goes from these smaller steps over the larger steps that run down the center of the spiraling staircase that goes down the exterior of the spire, to the other staircase and back. You stumble around, you're trying to jump up steps, down steps, to the left side, to the right side. You're getting all wrapped up in this thread until eventually you find it attached to a bent needle. And that's when it kind of behooves you. Like, there's really no, that realization washes over you that there's really no reason for this to be here, that this should belong and be with someone else, someone older, more responsible. And this washes over all of you.
So I kind of pick it up and I turn around to the two, in my head, strange creatures in really good costume makeup. And I kind of hold it out, just with like this raised eyebrow. I don't say anything. I just kind of hold it out with a raised eyebrow.
Yeah. For those of you who aren't necessarily as delusional as John Cena is, you kind of recognize that this doesn't belong here. Pythagoras, being the more analytical, I would assume, is piecing things together. The loose stone, the door, the way the door opened, was it supposed to carry John like that? Was it supposed to open, with so much force?
Is John supposed to be confused as to who he is?
Yeah. And you come to the realization that the spire is not in the condition it's supposed to be.
Pythagoras will slowly reach out and look at the thread. This isn't right. Something's wrong. Why put thread in a maze that isn't there?
What was that, Pythie?
Why put thread in a maze that isn't there? This place shouldn't be falling apart like it is. This shouldn't be here.
This place?
This place is supposed to be laughter and smiles, not sharp, not loose, not doors that carry men, and not doors that carry others, as if blown by a wind. And he
Wow.
takes the needle and just kind of puts two hands on either side of it and straightens it, as well as because it has to be straight. It has to be straight. The angles aren't right.
Wow. That was poetic.
And he starts winding. He starts winding the thread as well.
You're very sharp, aren't you, Pythie?
But sometimes.
So as Pythie is winding the thread, time goes by. Eventually, you get enough of the and it's a lot of thread. It is a lot of thread. But making your way.
I might need some help here. It's just it's like the realization that this is getting more and more and more.
Yeah, as you're getting like this huge spool and bundle of thread, all in one place, you can start seeing like the sparkles of starlight in the thread, and you follow it down the steps. And moving down the steps, you get to like this cloud layer where there's like this beautiful mist, grazing the step, except that on the spire it seems to be freezing, making the steps just a little bit slippery. And you start hearing, like, for the first time, signs of life. That deafening quiet is giving way to the sounds of giggles and the tapping of tiny, tiny little feet. As you're following the thread and following the sound in the only direction you can down this spiraling staircase on the exterior of the spire, you come across a enormous door, 10, 12, 150 billion times bigger than you. You can't tell. But much, much larger, and the door is ajar, and the sound is coming from inside. And so too does the thread lead inside this door. It sounds like a commotion, a bunch of little figures, and probably one large figure stumbling about. You can hear things hitting the floor. What do you knights do from there?
Mr. Musso?
John Cena. No
John. John. Mr. Cena? Should one of us go look?
Okay. He takes his oversized stuffed fists and he shakes them in front of his and he says, "You can't see me," and goes invisible. And I want to go sneak up to the door. I want to sneak up to the door, and I want to just, real gently kind of peek my head. Is there enough room for my head to peek through without making
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there's
kind of peek my head through, and I want to go as far, kind of shuffling slightly, in. And I'm trying that my beefy muscles, my stuffed beefy muscles on my chest don't brush the door as I go in, like kind of slipping in sideways. And I want to see what's...
Okay, so what you see inside looks like a bunch of small dolls that are roughly the size of the rest of you. They're the same sort of size of the knight, of you knights, but they all look like, some of them look like old-timey business attire. Some are more modernly dressed, but they all seem to be wearing suits. And they're all in some state of being wrapped by this magical thread. There's thread, spindled throughout the room like a spider web, The ceiling has the base of the Well of Souls, which is a small pond of water on the ceiling that refuses to drip down. And towards the center of the room is a large oak desk. And at that desk is sitting an old man tied to a chair, wrapped in thousands of spools of his own magical thread, and gagged with a handful of stuffing.
Now you have to forgive me because I was coughing from my laughing fit. You said that what was the suits part? That's when I was coughing.
There's other. They look like plushies.
Mm-hmm.
They're all wearing suits, except their faces don't look like they're plush. They look like they're ceramic or porcelain. They're, the light bounces and shines off their face, but they all look like little businessmen.
Okay, but besides the magical thread wrapping them up, I don't see any obvious sign of enemies, right?
Well, they are in different states of being wrapped up by the thread.
Okay.
And they're jumping around and running around the table, wrapping the old man in thousands of spores.
Okay,
thread.
so I kind of like I'm not invisible, just kind of squeak back out, side shuffle, right?
Okay.
And I go back to the other guys, and I put a hand on either shoulder so they know I'm there, and I go, oh, they can't see me, but it doesn't look good in there.
Oh. Should we?
Well, I do a lot of charity work, and there's an old man in there, and I think he needs our help.
Old man.
Yeah.
We need to help him.
Who is he?
He's important. He's very important. I know he's important, but I don't know why he's important. I just know he's important.
Okay, he's very important.
I think he runs this place.
Well, just one
oh,
problem.
Answers, man. Okay. So he'll look at John Cena. Well, I can't see you right now, right?
Yeah, you can't see me.
So I'll look in the general direction and up. So I might be looking over your head, and you'll see the long cylindrical snout puff up.
Whoa, no kisses. No kisses.
No, not that. And then he'll stick out his claw, and he'll go upward, and he's going to try to scratch your chin, try to feel you where you are.
Mm-hmm.
And if he does feel you, or if not, you move out of the way. He'll move his claw like this, kind of trying to do a fist. You can't see me. And I'm going to undo my good guy bonus for the scene and turn invisible.
Yeah!
So, standing there seemingly all alone, Pythie.
Pythie looks left and right and just looks around as these two figures just disappear.
I'm here. I have camouflage scales.
Speaking ruins the illusion. You should go help. I'll be right behind you, don't worry.
Well,
okay.
He's just looking at the thread and once I figure out what I'm doing with this.
I'll use my claws like scissors and cut the rope.
That's a good idea. And you, Mr. Thinker, Mr. Poet, you should take that thread and wrap. Yeah?
Wait, yes, I have an idea. And he starts hopping down the stairs.
You're leaving us?
Well, no, I thought you guys were going. I thought you guys were going through the door.
Yes.
I am.
I'm not leaving you. I'm doing something else.
Okay, gotcha.
Tangentially.
All right. We're like ninjas in the night. You can't see us, and we're going in.
I've already gone in at this point because I'm going to help the man with the answers. And he'll start walking in, just trupsing through with his tail kind of gliding along. Go over to the threads.
You see the same thing that John saw, the little people dancing around, wrapping the poor old man with countless spools of this magical thread.
Okay. I'm going to try to first cut the rope with my claws if possible. I don't know what rule that would be. Whatever you want.
You want to try to cut the rope?
Mm-hmm.
All right. When you're trying to like cut the rope with scissors, it's like the rope begins to illuminate and sparkle as you're pinching it, but it doesn't seem to actually cut. And that's when, like, at the corner of your tiny little eye, your tiny beady little eye, you see the old man there, and he's got an apron with a pocket that has a ruler, but what catches your eye are these pair of scissors.
Oh, I grabbed the pair of scissors. He's saying that to himself, like, oh yes, I need to grab the pair of scissors. So I'll grab the pair of scissors.
All right. So as you're going, because the old man is enormous compared to you. He is a vast titan. But what is John Cena doing?
So I'm watching him connect the dots. I see the scissors. I see him see the scissors. And I'm kind of waiting for a second. And if a distraction is needed, I am going to John Cena all over these guys.
Okay.
So I guess I'm kind of waiting to react.
So I'm curious as to Pythie, what Pythie's doing while you guys are inside.
Well, Pythie has a lot of thread, and he knows that this thread is leading to in there.
Mm-hmm.
And the more he pulls, the more he gets. So that means there's a lot more thread in there. He has a needle. What do you do with needles and threads? So he kind of takes the needle, looks at the thread. Looks at the castle that's slowly falling apart, finds a crack and starts pushing. Very slowly, but in between each crack of the brick. So maybe if I use enough, I'll get free.
All right, so you're sewing the castle, and oddly enough, it's going by very easily. Like you're putting the needle into stone, but the stone feels more like a soft material against the needle. Inside, though, we have Henry sneaking up, climbing up the table, jumping onto the man to grab the scissors. And there's thread all over the place. Could you roll me your make me a roll and apply your knack?
I'm a ninja. He's starting to like remember this about himself. Like I don't know what I am, but I know I'm a ninja. That's a 17 plus 5, 20.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
24.
That is fine. So you get up to the scissors. You grab and remove the scissors, which are easily as big as you are, right? And yet, all of these individuals, there's a bunch. There's like half a dozen of these other dolls in here. They're just laughing and giggling, like they point at the old man and they start dancing and jumping around, continually spinning the thread around him. So what do you do with the scissors? Or see, Cena's he's waiting in the wings, so to speak, right?
Me? Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you do with the scissors, Pythie? I mean, Henry.
Okay, I'm gonna try to roll down, specifically roll down with the scissors down the right arm.
Okay.
And then try to undo his right hand.
All right, sure. The scissors, they slice through the thread with ease. Just clomp, clomp, And as you're rolling and sliding down his arm, even the scissors sliding and gliding against the thread is cutting it before the scissors fully close. So you free his right arm, but once you do that, yeah.
Hand it to him.
All right. Once you do that, all the other little figures sort of stop, and they turn to look. You're still invisible, but they all sigh at the same time. Aww. And the old man begins to like struggle and, you know, shift and shimmy and continue cutting himself free while outside Pythe is what?
You can hear the awes and it's like distraction, noise. How to distract noise. Oh, I know. He kind of pulls out a bit of thread and goes, lots of thread. What happens if and he kind of concentrates, looks at the thread. And literally it's like string resonates with sound, pull taut. If I shout loud enough, they will all hear. He's going to try to make a generalized sonic attack using the string as a medium.
What?
That's right. String vibrates. It's the weirdest logic ever.
All right. Okay. So
it's literally a. So they all gonna go this way. They're like, what? What the hell is that?
Yeah. There's no need to roll. If you put this magical thread sort of between your beaks as you're doing this, the thread picks up on your vibration, and the thread leads directly into the spire, and the entire spire begins to shake and rumble. And inside the room, for those of you who cannot be seen, you do notice that the other figures, everyone, the old man begins to shake. He's really old. He's still half tied. He hasn't snipped his feet yet, so he kind of tumbles over to the floor, and it's like, and the little dolls are like, and they all start jumping off of the table. They look at each other, and they go, pointing at each other, all denying what's going on. And so one eventually says, let's find out what that is. Yeah. Oh, I think you were going to say something.
Are they going to come to the door? Are they going to come to the door?
Yep.
I materialize as the first one comes with a folding chair in my hand and go, John Cena, and I go to whack him.
All right, so give me an attack roll with your large weapon, correct?
Yep, I'm rolling with Brawn.
Oh yeah, you take out the creature, or the doll. When you smack it, its head actually shatters, right? And it flies backward into like these little ebony crystals of sand and dust, until it becomes like a little cloud in the air. And you notice that when you smacked the doll, that it in fact was not a plushie, that it was very hard. And it lands on the floor. Its face doesn't look very nice to you, but you don't get a good look at it, as when it hits the floor, it too shatters into these little ebony particles that then explode into dust.
And 5 more of them?
Yeah, there are 5 more of them, and they all stop and turn to look at you.
All right. When they look, right, the second I got all eyes on me, I kind of cross my arms over my chest and I go, looks like you need an attitude adjustment.
Henry!
So at this point, he's fallen with the man. And he quickly kind of climbs his way up. he feels strangely used to climbing. Like that's something about himself he's discovering as well. Like it's almost like he was made for it. And he claws his way up. He starts trying to grab the stuffing, try to scoop it. Scooping apparently is also natural for him. And starts scooping it out of the man's throat. Man with answers.
Yeah, you're pulling it. I was like, no, boy, I gotta dry.
And then I appear.
Oh, Henry, hello.
You know my name?
He goes, well, and then we go to outside as the tower is still sort of reverberating from that pseudo-sonic attack. And Pythagoras, or Pythe, is out there guiltily holding the thread.
See, it's just to slowly take the thread out and oh, okay, I did a bad thing. John needs help. How do I help John? I know. He stands up, picks up the third pick, just pulls up the needle, kind of as if he's peeking at the figures beyond John. Because let's see how you like being sewed. I kind of, because they're all going to be looking at John. So this little penguin figure is going to be like slowly meandering in.
All right, so you're able to get there within movement. Once you get to the entrance of the door, everyone is sort of just about right on top of John. And because they're right on top of John, you're kind of right behind them. Is there anything you want to do with that, or are you finished for now?
No, I'm right behind them and I have this, so I'm like... I have a needle, I have thread, I have figures. Let's hope I don't hit John.
All right, so give me an attack roll. The thread for you would be about as large as a long sword, so it'd be a medium weapon.
What am I using? Am I using brawn on this one?
You use your brawn, and you get a +2 to the roll because it's a medium weapon. And then you can tell me what you get.
No, 19.
No, yeah, you stab into it, and again, it's like its head begins to crystallize and explode into these little ebony particles. It looked like it was well kept, but like a flash of a lot of hair sort of puffs out before the whole thing explodes into these ebony crystals, which rapidly turn to dust and disappear. And that's when the four remaining look at, they're looking back and forth between John Cena and Pythagoras. And as they do so, you can see their faces. They're solid. They're kind of smiling, but the smile begins to crack and crumble away, starting with the lower part of the jaw, which turns into this ebony sand, and it starts raising up. And as it does so, it's slowly revealing a toothy smile that's growing larger and larger and larger. And then hair is starting to poke out from underneath.
Bad things.
Yeah, from underneath. From underneath the mask, and all four of them, this is happening to. And for the first time, you get to see how they look. And they no longer look quite like dolls. They look like that. They're about as large as you guys are. You know, and throughout their body, things are crumbling away so that you're seeing these little tiny claws for toes peering out of where their shoes were. Their outfits are a bit dusty and dirty. All the colors begin to bleed away into more muted palette. They have these wide eyes that are dark red, staring straight at you. And they're all smiling like it's playtime. One of them begins to speak.
That wasn't too fun. But I tell you what. Charge!
Two of them charge Cena, while the other two go after Pythagoras.
Yeah.
So, Cena, would you roll your defense?
Sure. Oh God. 5.
Yeah. That's not good.
No.
So they are terribly clawing at you, but they're obviously not as strong as you, so you only lose 3 hearts.
Okay. Am I gaining it, or am I being forced? What the condition?
Yeah, you would need to roll a d4.
Okay. 4.
A 4. Give me a second to look at the conditions.
Am I bratty now?
Yep, you are bratty.
All right, I'm bratty.
You gained the bratty condition, and you're 1 point away from gaining another.
Okay.
So you gain the bratty condition, and Pythagoras, will you roll your defense?
$18 now that I'm not muted.
Oh, geez. Yeah, they're clawing at you, but you're completely and totally unfazed by their attacks. They're like swinging away. Yeah. So with you're watching your allies over there, Henry, and the old man is like, well, yes, well, I had well, you could say that well, I'm not really a father figure to you, but I did have a hand in your creation, you could say. I had a stew here. It would do wonders for my thirst.
Stew? What's a stew?
A stew, boy, a stew.
Oh, a stew. It may have been knocked over.
Who would knock over an old man's stew? That's so. Oh, yes, that's right.
Man with answers, can you help
Oh!
Man with answers, can you help with the things that tied you up?
he points.
Why, yes, they're right there.
Oh, what am I?
Well, my boy, you're a.
As he starts like slapping his tongue at the roof of his mouth, trying to generate some saliva.
You're what you call a. You're a knight.
I'm a knight? I thought I was a ninja. He feels the band. I have a band. He's got a red string that he's just noticed around himself.
Well, I would suppose you're a ninja knight. A knight ninja. A ninja. Where is that stew? I had a stew here somewhere. I'm
That mean I
so
fight? Man with answers?
why, yes, you are a defender of virtue and stew. Where is my have you seen my stew, Henry?
I'm afraid not, man with answers. So I'll go help fight over here then? Can you help once you find your stew?
My stew is not over there. It should be. He goes looking for like the table, and he's not lifting himself up. He's just putting his hand on the top of the table.
Mm-hmm.
But while that's going on, John Cena.
Nope, I'm pressing buttons and I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna drop my chair. I'm gonna kind of wind my arm up, right? And this is probably a really bad idea, but I'm gonna go big or go home.
Ooh. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So here we go. Oh, maybe. Hold on. 12.
What?
Yes.
You think you can do anything with a 12? Well, then you're right. Again, you explodify one of these into a cloud of dust.
Okay. I get an additional use of my good guy bonus
That must be used before
by
the end of this.
fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as one of the last remaining four gets all explodified and transmalagafrated into dust, Pythagoras.
Now I reveal my master plan. Pythagoras is like, he's been defending himself. He kind of ducked left, ducked right, ducked forward, and he kind of stops. Turns the needle neatly to one side and does this. And the thread that he's been wanding around in circles, each and every single one of these creatures, closes.
Okay. So I'm guessing that's more of a trap than an actual attack. So a
Very much.
trap is rolled with 1d10. And it seems like it's an incredibly masterful plan, so you can apply your brains.
Yay. That's a good roll. Is it good enough, though? Applying my brains to this problem, I get a 12.
You get a 12 total?
Mm-hmm.
Pop. Pop. They both disappear.
Is there one left?
Yep. Well, no. He was wrapping around all of them, right? Yeah, they kind of all disappear.
Okay.
Let me stop that. So all that's left is just like a sparkly cloud of dust and like black smoke that is rapidly dissipating. We go back to the old man, and he's pointing at the desk. It was over there. I put it down when I was sewing. You see, I like to sew. It's, as a matter of fact, it's how I came by. Oh, what am I? Oh, you need to. And he points over at the door. You know, I thought there was a bit of commotion over there. Ah, Pythagoras! John Cena.
Damn it.
Did I break Ben? Oh.
Pythagoras waves, holding the needle and thread, which still kind of makes little, like, wibbly motions as he waves. So,
Well, if you're why? I can't seem to move. And he's still tied, like his feet are tied to the chair. It's like, why Has age finally caught up to me?
No, you're tied to the chair.
Oh, the years. Oh, yes, I am. Why, quite thank you. You have always been a smart one, haven't you, Python? Haven't you?
Yeah, I try.
I can't say that I understand why, but it seems. And he starts like looking around. Seems this place is just falling apart lately.
I had noticed.
Well, that's not supposed to happen.
No.
And he kind of like leans over. He starts crawling on the floor to get as close to locking eyes with you as possible. He's like, do you think it's darkness?
Maybe.
I think that was creepy.
You were getting close. I thought that's what we were supposed to do.
Is that what we're supposed to do?
I don't know. Is it what we're supposed to do?
He turns around to look at Henry.
Really close.
Yeah, he's right there.
Okay, so I want to just kind of like try to run up the old man's arms, right, and then put a plushy hand on the either side of the back of you guys' head and go, now kiss.
Like, he turns his head to Henry slowly. I don't remember making that one. What's the matter? Oh, and he kind of like leans his head back.
Thank you.
Sir, who are you?
Well, I'm me. You're you.
I don't know.
You're a knight and I'm a tailor. Of sorts.
Okay.
Toy maker. I like to sew. Do you like to sew, boy?
So
what? Oh, yes. You found it.
Is this yours?
Yes, it is. It's a. And he starts like examining it. It looks a bit crooked, doesn't it?
I found it. It was bent, and I didn't look like it was bent. I had to make it straight, so I made it as straight as I could. But I'm not John, and John is strong, but I made it as straight as I could.
These are not supposed to bend.
No, they're not.
And then he leans in close again. He goes, I really do think it's darkness. Or one of his little playthings.
It probably is, but I don't know where he is or where they are. But we should find them.
Yes, indeed. And he sort of gets up really fast.
And administer John's kind of justice.
Yeah, John is probably being carried aloft on the top of the old guy's head, hanging on to a couple of the last strands on the top of his dome. And the old man gets up way faster than he should for his age. And just at the apex of his height, you hear he goes, ha! Oh, that's not supposed to happen either. I think I have to take us. Why is my chair on the floor like that? This place is a mess. Why is my mouth so dry? Oh, darkness. You should go see about stopping him. I don't know what mischief he's up to now.
What's your name?
He doesn't have a name.
He starts scratching his chin. Well, I hadn't thought of that in a while. It's not like I've been naming you guys. And why? Ah, there it is. And he goes and grabs like a bowl that is upside down. And he's like, oh, this is so sad. This would have been perfect. Oh, Henry, hello. When did you get here?
It's Henry. Just kind of grab Henry very gently by the shoulders and say, Henry, we have to do the thing where we stop the evil thing. The darkness.
Darkness?
Darkness.
I don't like the sound of that. I just came from darkness.
Well, you kind of have to fight it now. 'Cause that's what we... Well, maybe not fight.
No, you did not just... Did I send you to go after darkness already? I did send a group before. I don't remember.
Why is there nobody here?
What do you mean, nobody here?
There's
This
nobody
place
here.
is full of knights.
No, it's not.
I should not know. No, there's no knights here. That is quite odd.
You thought it was darkness.
Oh, yes, that does sound like what I would think. It does sound like what it might be, Doc. You should go look after that.
We should
All
go.
right, well,
Let's
okay,
go
where do we go?
this way.
This.
There's only one door to the room.
Oh, this way.
John, hang on.
Hey guys, I'm really sorry. Cody couldn't get the baby squirrel to eat, so I am. So I'm just gonna leave my mic open if that's okay. Because I'm feeding him.
Okay.
So what's up?
I was about to heal you.
So
I was about to give John Cena the healing buffs.
Oh, okay, awesome, cool.
Because, you know, I can do that.
How much?
It doesn't actually say how much it heals, though.
I think there's a healing damage chart somewhere, isn't there?
There's a healing under healing magic. There's a DC for healing.
So there's 12.
The current DC,
DC
should be
12.
12. Yes.
Yes, I see that. I should do a healing thing.
So the amount that you heal is the number of excess you get above 12.
And am I rolling off brains or something else?
It's just a straight roll.
No, he's got
Okay.
He's going right back at it. Just hold him like that. Sorry, guys.
It's your lucky day, John.
How much
I
do I
just
heal
rolled-
for?
So I just rolled a 20.
Oh god.
Yeah, you kind of get all your hearts back.
Okay, but I do not get rid of my bratty condition.
You do not get rid of your condition. You're still bratty.
All right.
He can attempt to heal bratty.
All right. So as this happens,
Oh,
my like
okay.
my fluffing and stuffing kind of goes back into this little ding that was on my head. Right. It was like this dent, and like if you would like karate chop a pillow, like, there was like this dent in my head, and it just kind of pops out, right? And I just kind of go. Wasn't that big of a deal.
So will you try to?
I will attempt to
This
heal
was-
the bratty. I will attempt to heal the brattiness.
Now, if you get another 20 on that, you definitely heal it. But
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to. But a 17, will that do?
yes, the DC for healing a condition is 15. So you remove the bratty condition from John Cena.
You seem to have healed the contusion upon your brain, but I think you may have taken a bit of a hard knock. What's wrong, John? What's wrong? Tell me what's wrong. Something's wrong, John. We have to fight the darkness.
So like if he had a chin, he would be like sinking his chin like into his neck. He's just kind of like, I'm good.
Okay, you're fine now.
Thanks. I think, I really need a new manager.
No, right now you're okay. Once we're done with this, you can go fight the Undertaker or whatever his name is.
So yeah, after
Who we're gonna go fight now.
the Underfaker.
Yeah.
So in your journey to find and defeat the Underfaker, you begin walking down the spire once more. That's fine. You begin walking down the spire once more. As you're getting lower and lower, and closer to the base of the spire, you're noticing like there's vast chunks of the spire missing now. You can't quite tell if it's because of what was happening or what Pythie did, but yeah, there's vast chunks. There's huge swaths of staircase missing and crumbling away. And as you get through the cloud layer, this magical mist, that was illuminated and sparkly and beautiful, you start to get beneath it, and everything grows darker and dimmer. And before you know it, it's hard to see more than a few paces in front of you. And what you can see is completely in black and white. You continue to travel down the stairs of the spire. You're getting closer and closer to the base of everything. And you can hear it again, right? You're hearing like little giggles, laughter, and what sounds like it might be crying. To some of you who have been knights active before, there might be memories of, your child maybe being bullied or pushed around, being mocked. These all sound like that, but it's hard to tell because, like I said, you can barely see but a few paces in front of you.
While this is happening, John has, you said they kind of have little flashbacks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And John has one of these. And he's staring up at the face of this little girl, but she doesn't have her pigtails. It's kind of just fallen in her face, and she's sitting on a stoop of this old brick house. Looks like they're in the city. You can hear cars and traffic outside. And she's just kind of holding him underneath the arms and looking down at him, and there's little tears dropping and sinking into his form. And she takes her thumbs and she squeezes them together, and you hear, "You're my #1 fan." And when he kind of shakes himself out of it, one of those tears comes back out of his fluff and rolls out from the corner of his painted-on eye. And he takes his stuffed hand and he presses his chest and he hears it. "You're my #1 fan."
Okay, so you guys proceed, right? Making your way through the darkness. The darkness parts for you, like the dimness, the inability to see, until eventually you realize that you're on the base of the spire. You're turning around this last turn. All right, this last turn is where you would enter the realm of men. And for some of you, you get the feeling this should be the most lively place of them all, right? But it's dim, it's dark, everything is essentially in grayscale. There is no color whatsoever. And in the distance, you can see a tear in the wall, right? You see a tear in the wall, and through this tear, there is a ushering forward just wave after wave of this inky liquid, this blackness pouring in, and it's spilling out into the floor. And you see the little creatures known as fearmongers. They're like dancing around, laughing. They're all wearing their little suits and top hats. They no longer have the disguise of a doll's face. And they're all pointing and laughing into the tear on the wall of the spire. And as you guys look into this tear, you can see a child through the tear, alone in a room, in a corner, crying. Chelsea, will you describe how Sid looks crying for us?
It's that big girl cry, where she's there and she's looking straight ahead and she's stone-faced, right? She's got that jaw set, a child in determination, but that tear just escapes and rolls down. And she's kind of got her jaw jutted out, and she's trying to hold it back, and you can hear the
and you hear the fear mongers going back and forth.
She's trying. I bet you she breaks. I bet you she breaks. 2 sugar smacks. 2. Make it 3. Ah, all right. Double her. Double or something. Or something or nothing. Whatever, 3. Okay, fine.
And one of them goes,
Hey, guys. Turn around.
and you start to see the fear mongers turn around to look at you. And they all stop and go,
Arr.
I start rolling up in a ball and shivering. Guys, this isn't good, guys. Guys, this isn't good. I don't know if I'm a knight, guys. Guys.
I am going to bum rush in. I'm going head first, fist raised back, and I'm screaming, 5-knuckle shuffle, and I'm going in. I'm also, hold on. Okay, I'll let you go first. Hold on.
So yeah, first let's because Henry started to take a turn. What did Henry finish doing when you went into a ball?
Coming up into a ball and being scared. My bad, Henry.
I didn't know if he was going to do anything after that.
No. He's just purely not ready for combat. He's just awoken for the first time. He's scared. Like, he's apparently a knight. He doesn't know what kind of animal that is, and he's wrapped up in his shell.
So, yeah, 5-knuckle shuffle. You charge in and roll me an attack.
And these look like the same things we were fighting before?
The same things. They have that little ratty, spiky hair peering out. A little. So you roll a 12, and you pop one. Just ever so quickly, right before he popped, you hear, "Ah!" And with your friend John Cena charging in, and your other fellow knight curling up into a ball, what does Pythie do?
Pythie takes one long look, takes a look at the child as Henry curls up. And a claw, and this little hand reaches down, touches where Henry is. And there's a, I'm so sorry. One foot shifts back, the arm shifts back, crosses over once each other, and he bowls Henry into combat.
Okay, bowling Henry into combat. We'll use this as a kind of forced working together, since Henry is just cowering in fear. All right. So, Ben, would you roll me the 2d10? This wouldn't be any. Yeah, you can apply your knack to it, right? And Chepe, would you roll me 1d10 for helping Ben? Though I know it's probably at a protest.
7. I mean, he wants to be helpful. He's just scared. 7.
And what was the value of your 2 different rolls?
16 is what I rolled in total.
It's you out of the 3d10, you take the 2 highest.
Okay, so I rolled a 8 and a 6.
An 8 and a 6. Okay, so you get a total of 15 because you're using
My
Henry's. Yeah, Henry's.
15 plus my knack, 17.
Yeah. So as you bowl Henry into one of these little fear mongers, it looks like it's about to crack up at the the panicked squeal of Henry's like, ha! And as he goes poof, the fearmonger right next to him points to the dust cloud before it settles. It goes, and as you guys are fighting these little fearmongers, right? Will be. You can start hearing like the sound of clapping and stepping from the shadows. You hear the sound of like a string being pulled, Well, 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 what a magnificent job you've done. You knights are something else, aren't you? And a figure walks into view. He's easily 2-3 times taller than the other fearmongers. He looks a bit similar, but he still has like a porcelain mask on. And he pulls the ripcord. Why aren't you glad with what I've done with the place? I think I've made quite a few improvements. So,
where is he approaching from?
He's coming out of the darkness into throwing range of you guys, of you that are in the front. From Pythie, he's about shooting range away from Pythie. But I doubt Pythie can see him at this range.
I'm definitely at the front.
All right, and how many fearmongers are left?
There's 4 little fearmongers.
In theory, because I know we haven't defined our wrestling quote-unquote thing in our mechanics yet, but in theory...
Well, we removed that, remember?
Okay, so here's what I want.
Okay.
I want to grab 2 of these guys and launch myself back into the rift.
Okay. Sure. Well, I guess we'll settle that because you're trying to use the rift to destroy these things.
Well, the last I saw Sid is through the rift. I don't want to leave my friends with too many monsters. What I want is to suplex these guys into the rift.
Okay, so that's essentially attacking with the environment.
Okay.
So that would be rolling with a single D10 instead of 2.
Okay. Can I apply my good guy bonus?
Yes, you can if you use it.
Okay. Alright, that is...
And you can also apply your brawn, since this seems like a really physical thing that you're doing.
12.
12 total?
Mm-hmm.
You jump through this rift, and the fearmongers are like, let go of me! And as they cross over the rift, the part you're holding onto just turns to sand in your oversized hands, before puffing away into dust. And as their bodies follow through the rift, they do the same until they no longer exist. And you fall like on a bed, and you can hear Sid's crying. And the crying sort of stops for a moment, and the rest of you who can see the rift see Sid turn and look at her bed, at her plush toy, John Cena. Henry.
Is it over yet?
You still got 2 fearmongers by you and 1 other thing that's within throwing distance.
He'll wake up or like unroll and like bellow out on his back. And he sees the guy in front of him. And he takes out these paper ninja stars that he didn't realize he had in his shell. I have ninja stars? I have ninja stars. And then he looks again with a sudden realization of fear. And he starts throwing. I'll make my 2 attacks at the big thing.
All right.
It would be knack.
Yeah, knack.
My first one's 15.
Ooh, all right.
And my second one is 17.
So your little paper ninja stars stick into this thing's suit. And he's like, ah, ah. Are you moving after that, or are you finished?
He's moving away. Like he's slowly inching away from these things, and he just threw them in like self-defense. It was just a reflex. He was like, ah!
Hey, get back here, you! What the hell is that thing?
I'm not a Ninja Turtle. I'm not a Ninja Turtle.
Pythe.
Pythe has not many options, so he's going to have to attack with the way he has, which he doesn't know. He doesn't have a weapon. Oh no! So he's going to have to close with one of these things, and give it a loving penguin peck.
All right. That sounds like a small stabby weapon.
Small stabby weapon.
So you'd be able to make 2 attacks.
In which case, I will totally poke it with my pecking thing. Yeah, words. It's 3 a.m. Bite me.
Yeah. Go for it.
Beak. That's the word. Okay, so I have a 15.
Okay.
And an 18.
With a 15 and an 18, the fearmonger to the left of you and the fearmonger to the right of you both volley and thunder. They both just and there's nothing left but the taller one, the much taller one in the distance, which you now see for the first time.
Oh. Well.
Well. It looks like I cannot bargain with you, knights. So sad for you. And it runs up. And it tries to punch and pummel the one that pierced it with a pair of ninja stars, which is you, Henry. So roll your defense.
Alrighty. 15 is the first one.
Jay, what's the second one?
The second one's 18. I rolled 8 and a 5, and then I got a plus. Actually, I got a +6. So I got.
So you're like somehow inherently knowing where the punches are going, dodging this thing.
Like I'm wrapping up in a ball and then rolling out of the way.
Get back here and let me beat you!
As he like stumbles back, I'm like, I'm dodging it? How am I dodging? I'm a ninja!
Yep. And John Cena, could you roll me a d6?
I don't have a D6 on my desk. 1 second.
Okay.
I got one. Thank you. 5.
A 5? All right. So, Sid sees you. Well, you tell me how Sid is using you to console herself.
so I guess I kind of appeared on the bed,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe when I came through that rift, my voice box went off by itself. You're my #1 fan. And she looks over and she picks me up with one hand and then brings me in front of her face, and she just kind of squeezes me against her chest. And can she see the rift?
No.
Okay,
And
she can't see
now
it.
that you're here, neither can you.
Okay. I look up into her eyes, and I know she can't see it, and I kind of like get the understanding now. I understand what it's all about. It's like I've woken up now that I'm not in the spire. Now that darkness isn't messing with me, I remember. And as she kind of just holds me close, the tears stop, and she lifts her head, and you kind of see her get up off the bed, and she peeks out the door. It's nighttime and there's no one there. And she turns around and she pulls a duffel bag out from underneath of her bed, and she packs me inside.
Okay. So moving back into the rift, Henry, there's just you, Pythie, and this oversized, almost doll-looking thing.
Mr. Cena? Mr. Cena?
You could see, you would have noticed that whole scene play out.
Yeah.
On the other side of the rift, which seems to be growing just a bit smaller.
He has warmth. He remembers a name in the back of his mind, Raphael. I may not know who I am, but I'm a Ninja Turtle, and at night, a Ninja Turtle-knit. And he starts throwing darts, as many as he can, as many paper shuriken around himself as much as possible, and I'm gonna attack. Double shuriken.
Give me a roll, 2 rolls, each applying your knack.
15 is the first.
All right.
10 is the second.
All right. So the second, he gets hit. Ah! And as he reels from the second one, the much like the actual paper ninja stars would, it starts to fly straight, and then somehow it's caught up by just a little bit of air and starts wibble wobbling and going entirely off course. Yes. Nighthag says, don't forget your good guy bonus, which, don't forget your good guy bonus. And you hit this oversized thing, and he's like, damn you, you thing, you.
And move off to the right, still maintaining that throwing distance. I'm trying to move like a zone over toward the rift.
Okay. And Pythie?
Pythie, like, for a moment, he's just looking at it and goes, bomb. And then these ninja stars come out of nowhere as John's behind it and the rift is slowly closing. And as it speaks, Pythie's eyes catch on something very important, something that's been there this whole time. And it's just, damn you, you. And this silver ring bounces in front of his eyes. And the idea comes, thing. And a smile crosses Pythie's face. And he says, Pangolin. And starts running. And he's going to grab the big ring, and he's going straight for the rift.
Okay. So you roll me a single d10 since you're using the rift, and a bit of a trap, I guess, since you're using his own pull cord against him. And tell me what you get.
And I'm applying my good guy
Okay.
bonus to this because
Okay. And you can apply your brains.
because I need all the help I can get. Yay! So that plus my good guy bonus. 15.
15.
Which is the best I can get.
So you jump into the rift, right? So Henry, you see Pythe jump into the rift, pulling the pull cord, and you hear the right, and then this large figure starts being pulled towards the rift after both Pythe and the pull cord are already through it. And as he's getting pulled closer and closer, he goes, "You damn knights! I didn't see this coming. I'm getting to." And he hits the rift, right? And on the other side of the rift, you feel like you know, a little, soft little fall, as you fall in the corner of the room, and beside you is a little doll, and it's an old, beat up doll with the pull cord, and the pull cord's wrapping up, and it's like, and you no longer see the rift that you came through. But for Henry, as that happens, it's like all the the inkiness that was pouring through just shoots out, splashes across the floor, but it shoots out as blackness, and when it splashes, it's a splash of color. All the darkness is shattered, and now the color is just being bled back into the room and into yourself. You're no longer in a grayscale area. It's full of light, though there are cracks that you can see, all emanating golden light as they're sealing up, and this rift is rapidly closing. It is barely a sliver. And right behind it, the wall has a drawing of a door. It looks to be drawn in sidewalk chalk. And if you open that door, you can walk into the realm of men and into the arms of your kid.
War. Walks and presses his paw against the door. Is it warm?
Yeah.
He opens it.
It's warm like a pan of fresh baked cookies. You can just smell the love. You open it. It just washes over you, this bright light. And that will be the end of this stitch. Now, I do know that Ben mentioned it's 3 a.m. and I had another stitch planned. Would you guys like to just end it here?
Yeah, I've got to. I got to get up in the morning.
All right, cool.
But I wouldn't mind coming back at another time and to do the next stitch.
Oh yeah, no, that'd be fun.
Yeah, all right. Essentially at this point, we would do like a cool outro. I think for a test, we might have role played too much.
I don't care.
But it was fun. Essentially just going through the structure of everything. You guys went through give me a second. Clock over. You went through, the first scene was strictly role play. The second scene was investigation, which is finding out, the crumbling tower. Then there was the combat scene with the fearmongers that tied up the old man. Then the role play between the old man and seeing everything go grayscale. And finally, you fought phase 1 fear. and fearmongers at the end. So I'll being that I'm so new at a point of inspiration, I don't know how to outro this thing.
You just go, so that was us at a point of inspiration, rocking out some of the coolest stuff this side of the nation. What?
Okay, so that was us at a point of inspiration, rocking out the coolest stuff of this side of the nation. What?